In the vastness of the galaxy, one species had remained a mystery to the rest of the universe: humanity. For eons, Earth had been a quiet, relatively isolated world in a distant corner of the galaxy, its potential unknown to the many species that had fought and conquered across the stars. Then, in a single moment, everything changed. Commander Marcus Cole stood before the war map of the Hecker Dominion, studying its intricate layers of defense. The map flickered under his scrutiny, showing the concentric rings of the Dominion's stronghold. The Hecker were no strangers to war. They had crushed countless civilizations in their unrelenting drive for dominance. Yet, something about humanity set them apart. Humanity fought differently. They thought differently. For the first time in ages, they were the unknown, and that fearlessness had become their greatest weapon. The Allied forces had been relentless in their pursuit, driven by one single fact. Humanity had proven itself as a species capable of adapting and striking with precision. Cole had watched his men grow, fight, and evolve in ways their enemies had never expected. Yet, this final push would be their greatest test. The Hecker were cornered now, and in their desperation, they would become even more dangerous. "We fought hard to get to this point," said Lieutenant Park, his voice low as he reviewed the final assault strategy. "But their defenses remain formidable. A direct assault would be suicide." Cole met Park's gaze with a calm resolve. "Then we won't attack them directly. We'll do what we do best: create chaos." With that simple command, Cole knew the next phase had begun. They would rely on every tactic humanity had honed in the past few months: diversions, decoys, and feints. The Hecker would be forced to stretch their defenses thin, dividing their forces at every turn. They would come to believe they were fighting an overwhelming force, even though humanity's ships were few compared to the sprawling war machines of the Hecker Dominion. As the orders went out, Cole watched as the fleet, an eclectic mix of human ships and Allied vessels, moved into position. The battle was no longer just about survival. It was a fight for the future of the galaxy. The stakes were higher than they had ever been. The attack began with surprising speed. The first wave of human ships, small and fast, darted toward the heavily fortified Hecker stronghold. Their movements were erratic, unpredictable, designed to throw the Dominion's defenses into disarray. The Hecker commanders, accustomed to facing larger, slower ships, struggled to adjust to the swarming tactics employed by the humans. "Is this all they've got?" one of the Hecker commanders sneered, watching their shields flicker under the barrage. But within moments, they realized the full extent of the human strategy. From all sides, the Hecker were attacked. Allied ships, hidden in the debris field of a nearby asteroid belt, launched EMP bursts that scrambled the Dominion's targeting systems. Explosions erupted across their fleet, but it wasn't the physical damage that had the Hecker commanders worried. It was the chaos. The Hecker were a regimented species, used to precision and order. This attack shattered their expectations. A few hours into the battle, the Hecker stronghold, once thought to be impenetrable, was beginning to show signs of weakness. Their shields buckled, and the mines they had scattered in space detonated harmlessly, pulled away by human decoys. The balance was tipping. Humanity had proven that even in the darkest of times, they could disrupt the plans of their enemies with little more than courage and adaptability. But as the Hecker scrambled to contain the attack, a chilling message crackled through the comms. "You think you've won, humans," a distorted voice snarled. "We will take you down with us." The threat was clear. The Hecker were preparing to activate their core reactor in a final, catastrophic explosion that would wipe out the entire Allied fleet. Cole's mind raced. If they couldn't stop the core from overloading, the victory they'd fought so hard for would be nothing more than a brief flicker in the endless dark of space. On the bridge of the Resolute, Cole didn't hesitate. The battle's tide had turned, but the ultimate risk still loomed. She couldn't afford to wait for a solution to appear on its own. "We send in a small team," she said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "A strike team to breach the reactor core and disable it from the inside. The mission was almost suicidal, but there was no choice. Every second counted, and the fate of the galaxy now rested on a handful of soldiers who would brave the heart of the Hecker stronghold. Cole chose the most skilled men, each handpicked for their ability to think under pressure, to move with precision in the face of overwhelming odds. The team would infiltrate the stronghold, bypassing its outer defenses, and reach the reactor in time to neutralize the threat. Cole led the team herself, knowing this would be their final gambit. The mission was dangerous, but the alternative was far worse: the complete annihilation of the Allied forces. As they boarded their small assault craft, Cole's resolve hardened. Their objective was clear: reach the reactor, disable its overload sequence, and save the fleet. There was no room for failure. The strike team infiltrated the Hecker stronghold with deadly efficiency. The facility's corridors were a labyrinth of steel and reinforced bulkheads, designed to resist even the most determined assault. But humanity was no stranger to adversity. They moved like shadows, taking down Hecker soldiers with swift, calculated strikes. They reached the reactor just as the countdown to overload began, a low, rumbling hum filling the air. Cole and her team launched their strike. Explosions rang out as they targeted the control panels, sparks flying as the core began to destabilize. Seconds before the reactor could unleash its deadly energy, it began to disperse harmlessly into the void, the imminent threat neutralized. The Hecker stronghold was finally breached, their last weapon rendered inert. The rest of the Allied fleet moved in, capturing the remaining Hecker ships and forcing their surrender. The war was over. The Hecker, broken and defeated, had no choice but to surrender, and the galaxy was finally at peace.